in the breakdown of your marriage?
Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
For decades, the world has been fascinated by the life and legacy of Princess Diana. She was a symbol of grace and compassion. After she died, all of her memories were locked away in vaults, including her most precious belongings, her jewelry, tiaras, necklaces, and bracelets. Each gem was a constant reminder of her legacy. Recently, however, whispers began that some of those pieces had surfaced at private auctions. But who could steal these priceless jewels? When investigators followed the trail, it led to one person, Camilla. But why would she risk everything by touching Diana's jewels? Let's uncover the scandal step by step. The legacy of Diana's jewelry. Princess Diana's jewelry was more than just diamonds and sapphires. Every piece carried a story, a memory, and a message of love. Her jewels were not only a decoration, but also a reflection of her life and her bond with the people. The best example is her sapphire and diamond engagement ring. Unlike other royals, she didn't take an old family heirloom. Instead, she chose a ring from a catalog, one that anyone could buy. It was a radical, relatable choice that instantly signaled she was a different kind of royal. Today, that very same ring, arguably the most famous in the world, shines on the finger of Catherine, the Princess of Wales, keeping her spirit alive. Then there was the hauntingly beautiful Swan Lake necklace, a swirl of diamonds and pearls crafted just for her. Diana wore it at her last public event, which gave the necklace a deeper meaning. It became a sad reminder of a life that ended too soon. Her collection was a dazzling mix of tiaras, symbolic brooches, and gifts from global leaders, each one a beautiful piece of diplomacy and power. When Diana passed away in 1997, she left her jewelry to her 2 sons. She made it clear that the pieces were to stay as they were, and in time, be passed on to their wives and children. Never changed, never sold. So, when you hear whispers of scandal about her jewels, remember it's more than just gossip. It's a betrayal of her final wish. But how did Camilla gain access to these priceless jewels in the first place? The rise of Camilla. To truly grasp the outrage behind this royal scandal, you have to rewind to the most infamous love triangle in modern history: Charles, Diana, and Camilla. For years, Camilla was the shadow in the story, the woman who haunted Diana's marriage and stole her husband's heart. Diana herself delivered the bombshell line that sealed Camilla's fate in the public eye. In her legendary BBC interview, she famously said, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." With those words, Camilla became known as the rival, the woman who had stolen Diana's happiness. When Charles and Camilla finally wed in 2005, the world was split down the middle. Was it a beautiful, long-overdue love story? Or was it the ultimate betrayal of a woman the world still adored? The palace launched a carefully orchestrated PR campaign to rehab Camilla's image. She was shown as a loyal, charitable, and supportive figure, slowly winning over a wary public. And it worked, eventually. Camilla went from royal outsider to queen consort. Yet even on the day of Charles's coronation, Diana's shadow lingered. For many, Camilla never escaped the comparison with the woman still remembered across the world as the people's princess. So when you hear that pieces of Diana's jewelry were touched by Camilla, it's not just a breach of royal protocol. It's a direct and unforgivable betrayal of Diana's memory. Whispers of a secret sale. The scandal did not explode overnight. It started as a whisper, a rumor circulating through the hushed halls of London and Paris auction houses. High-profile dealers began fielding discreet inquiries about royal jewels, requests that at first seemed harmless. But then the descriptions became more specific, matching pieces once owned and cherished by Princess Diana herself. In exclusive private salons across Europe, whispers grew louder. Wealthy collectors murmured about treasures that were supposed to be untouchable. Secret photos of the jewels were passed from hand to hand, and hidden buyers were courted under layers of anonymity. Slowly, a shocking picture began to emerge. But why were Diana's jewels being mentioned in quiet deals? Who could have removed them from the royal vaults? And above all, who possessed the authority to touch them? To the shock of insiders, every trail led back to Camilla. Whispers claimed she had taken possession of certain jewels that had come through Charles, items tied to Diana but absorbed into the royal holdings. Rather than keeping them safe for future generations, she was said to have shifted them into the private market. trading sentiment for staggering sums of cash. Then, with one careless mistake, the entire carefully guarded secret came crashing out of the shadows and into the spotlight. The breaking point. The scandal broke out when a diamond bracelet, once seen glittering on Diana's wrist, surfaced quietly in a private European sale. Unlike other pieces, this jewel could not hide in the shadows. It was too distinctive, too well photographed, and etched too deeply in the public memory. Collectors knew it instantly. Historians confirmed it. The bracelet was unmistakably Diana's. The revelation struck like a lightning bolt through the House of Windsor. When William was informed, his outrage was immediate. For him, this was not simply the theft of an heirloom, but the violation of a promise. His mother's jewels were more than ornaments. They were fragments of her story. Though estranged from the palace, Prince Harry's reaction was no different. His bond with the monarchy may have fractured, but his devotion to Diana's memory remained unshaken. The bracelet was more than jewelry. It was a symbol of the woman who had shaped him, and he wouldn't stand by and watch it be sold off. When the brothers confronted the truth, every lead pointed in one direction, and to their horror, the trail ended with Camilla. The royal confrontation. The confrontation inside Buckingham Palace was reportedly explosive. Pale with fury, King Charles demanded answers, wanting to know why his wife had touched jewelry that was never hers to claim. Camilla's defense was a cold one. She said the jewels were collecting dust, and the money was needed to maintain royal estates. She even reportedly dismissed the whole thing, believing no one would ever find out. But this wasn't about finances for Charles. It was about honoring Diana. The sale of her jewels was a huge disrespect to her memory and a reckless act that put the monarchy at risk. In a rare, blistering display of rage, Charles reportedly ordered Camilla to leave the palace. For the courtiers and staff who saw it, the sight of the queen consort being told to vacate the royal quarters was historic. It was a moment that shook the very walls of Buckingham itself. The public outrage. Once the story broke, the reaction was swift and unforgiving. Newspapers splashed headlines accusing Camilla of betrayal, while online outrage spread like wildfire. Hashtags demanding justice for Diana dominated social media feeds, uniting people across countries in anger. The scandal reopened wounds long thought closed. Memories of Diana's troubled marriage, the heartbreak of her public humiliation, and her tragic death resurfaced. The idea that Camilla could now profit from Diana's memory by selling her jewels felt unbearable to many. Supporters of Diana worldwide launched petitions, pressing the monarchy to safeguard every piece of her jewelry for the next generation. Others insisted the collection should be placed in a museum, protected forever as part of history, rather than left vulnerable to personal motives. In the midst of this storm, Camilla's carefully rebuilt image collapsed overnight. Decades of repair were undone in a single scandal. Is this the end for Camilla? So, was Camilla really banished from the palace? Royal sources report that Charles asked her to stay at one of their private estates, out of the public eye. It wasn't a permanent exile, but it was humiliating, a clear sign that even as queen consort, Camilla was not untouchable. In the monarchy, appearances matter above all, and Camilla's image, already fragile, was badly damaged. Whether or not she truly arranged the sales, the scandal stuck to her name. To many, she was guilty by association, and no amount of public relations could erase the stain. Now, the questions remain. Can Charles ever forgive her, or has this betrayal driven a wedge between them? Will William and Kate step in to guard Diana's remaining jewels, ensuring they are preserved for future generations? And most haunting of all, was this Diana's legacy striking back, ensuring she would never be forgotten? The story of Diana and Camilla has always been one of rivalry, heartbreak, and redemption. But this scandal has torn open old wounds in a way few could have predicted. What do you think? Should Camilla face harsher consequences for this scandal? Or has she already had enough? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, consider liking this video if you enjoyed it and subscribing to our channel. Also, turn on the notifications bell so you don't miss out on our future videos like these. Until then, see ya.